For most of our history, a third term wasn't outright illegal. It was just an unwritten rule. George Washington set the precedent by stepping down after 2 terms, and every president after him followed suit. Mostly. It's not like a few didn't try to break with the tradition. In fact, Ulysses S. Grant sought the Republican nomination for a 3rd term in 1880, but lost at the convention. Theodore Roosevelt also attempted a 3rd term in 1912 under the Progressive Party. And then there's Woodrow Wilson, who had hoped to run for a 3rd term in 1920, but after suffering a severe stroke in 1919 that left him largely paralyzed on his left side, he failed to gain party support. And so the precedent held. That is until FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who ran and won a 3rd term in 1940, and then again for a 4th in 1944. After his death in 1945, concerned about prolonged executive power led Congress to pass the 22nd Amendment, officially limiting presidents to 2 terms. But even after the 22nd Amendment, the idea of a 3rd term has surfaced from time to time. Even Bill Clinton, after leaving office, expressed interest in repealing the amendment, arguing that a 2-term limit restricts voters' ability to choose the leader they want. He suggested that a former president should be allowed to serve non-consecutive terms if the public desire. While this never gained serious political traction, it demonstrates that discussion about 3rd-term possibilities has not been limited to one particular party or ideology. In the modern era, these ideas tend to arise more as hypothetical than real legislative efforts, but they do reveal a deeper conversation about how executive power should function in a democracy. And if a sitting president, whether it be Trump, Biden, or anyone else, wanted a 3rd term, what would have to happen to allow that? The simple answer, they'd have to get rid of the 22nd Amendment. That means passing another constitutional amendment, which is no easy task. You either need congressional approval, which requires 2/3 of both the House and the Senate to have the ability to change, followed by ratification of 3/4 of the states, which would mean 38 states. Second, a constitutional convention. If 2/3 of state legislatures, 34 states, call for a convention, they could propose the change, but it would still require 38 states to ratify. It's a highly improbable scenario given the political divides in the country. So the real question isn't, does Trump want a 3rd term? It's, do his supporters have the political power to make it happen? Because let's be clear, if a movement to repeal the 22nd Amendment and crosses those legal thresholds, it wouldn't be tyranny. It would be the will of the people through the system that we have. But if a president or their supporters attempt to claim a 3rd term without successfully changing the Constitution, that would be tyranny. And that brings us to the final question. If you support this idea, are you comfortable with the precedent that it sets? Because power just doesn't belong to one side forever. Once that door is open, it's open for everyone. So is this a real possibility? Right now, no. There's no real movement to repeal the 22nd Amendment. But it's a useful thought experiment. If a president ever does try to run for a 3rd term, you'll know exactly what it means, what it takes, and whether or not it's even possible.